Why pray to God when He knows everything? Why offer God anything when He has everything? Jesus said, "Your Father knows what you need before you ask. So why pray?" Because we're surrounded by divine grace, but our own self-effort is what is needed to access that grace. Like the disciple who asked Yoganandaji, "How can I change without your blessings?" And the Master responded, "You have my blessings already. You have God's blessings. It's your blessings that are lacking." Yoganandaji gave us the perfect prayer. I will reason, I will, I will act, but you guide my reason, my will, and my activity to the right path in everything. And so in this way we are active, we're not passive, and our relationship with our higher self is a partnership, a conversation. Living with Swami Kriyananda, if he had a satsang at his house or a few people over, or even I would go there alone when I was his secretary, it's like his presence demanded that I try to raise my level of energy to his. He never demanded it, but when I walked in the door, I just felt that what I wanted to do was sit down, close my eyes, go within, and listen very carefully to whatever he might have to say. Whatever fatigue or confusion I walked in the door with, it was immediately gone, and it was replaced with a sense of clarity and inner joy. In my inbox these days, every day there's a list, there's an account of what Yoganandaji did on that date in different years. And on this date, it said that he gave 2 lectures in Minnesota. And in 1927, in 1933, on the same date, he started a series of classes, a month-long series in Louisville, Kentucky. And I kind of imagined that, yes, I heard that Yoganandaji traveled for 2 or 3 years when he first came to America, and then he started an ashram in Los Angeles, and there he stayed. But no, he spent 15 years traveling all around the U.S. to big cities, small cities, Louisville, Kentucky for a month, and just to try to awaken the energy, awaken the consciousness of the whole population. And once he gave a lecture and 5,000 people attended, and he said to his disciple, Dr. Lewis, he said, "Tomorrow when we have the class, following this free lecture of 5,000 people, we'll be lucky if 5 people attend." And as it turned out, the next day, 5 people attended. It's like people at that time were very curious, but they weren't ready to make the effort. And now many more people are wanting to make the effort. And Yoganandaji said that he and all of our line of gurus were self-realized avatars who chose to come back to earth to help people like you and like me. And because we're ready to make the effort. And these avatars put into the world a tremendous new wave of energy to uplift mankind. In 1861, Babaji told Lahiri Mahashaya, the millions who are encumbered by family ties and heavy worldly duties. Does this sound familiar at all? Will take new heart from you, a householder like themselves. You must guide them to see that the highest yogic attainments are not barred to the family man. For another 25 years, Lahiri continued to raise his family. He continued to work as an accountant for the British Army. And at the same time, he taught people Kriya Yoga, and he made disciples of them. All of them householder yogis, like himself. This was not the tradition of, okay, when I retire, maybe I'll go and live in an ashram. No, this was a whole new dispensation that these avatars have brought to us. Babaji said that East and West must establish a golden middle path of activity and spirituality combined. And he instructed Sri Yukteswar to expand this mission, to write a comparison of Christian and Hindu scriptures, to spend 10 years training Yoganandaji to be sent to the West, the first yoga master to spend his life in the West. In the Autobiography, Yoganandaji compares the path of monks and of yogi householders. And he said, to fulfill one's earthly responsibilities is indeed the higher path, provided the yogi, maintaining a mental uninvolvement with egotistical desires, plays his part as a willing instrument of God. The daily challenges that each of us face contain very important lessons for us, and lessons that the solitary yogi in the mountains may not be able to have. And we've been divinely placed just where we need to be. And what is ours will surely come to us. Yoganandaji told of a saint who had healed many people. And then one day he became very ill. And his disciple said to him, "You must pray to the Divine Mother and ask her to heal you." And then, so the saint did that, and Divine Mother came to him, and she said, "Of all things, you have so many bodies to live in, and you think of just this one little one. Shame on you." And his prayer would not have been wrong for somebody who felt that they had just one body. But if we give our life to realizing the light and to serve as a channel to spread that light, if we're totally dedicated to that, then we're given just what we need without ever having to ask for it. And this is the ideal of the householder yogi.
There's two stories of disciples or students of Swami Kriyananda, members of this path, that were terminally ill. One of them, nearing her last few days, asked Swami, what do I pray for? And he said, pray to be in the light. Just be in the light. Pray to be in the light. And then, because this woman wanted to pray that she was healed, that she could stay with her family, that she could just remain on the planet. But he said, just pray to be in the light. And she had a very high, blessed passing. And the other woman, similar, he said, keep your consciousness always here at the spiritual eye. While you're going through these last month or two of her life. Just keep your consciousness here at the spiritual eye. So his guidance was just be in the light. Just be in the light. Everything will be okay if you use whatever willpower, strength of heart that you have to be in the light. And just like this affirmation that we just read, the prayer at the end is, give me the strength, Lord, to hold you always in my heart. If I can hold you always in my heart, problems don't exist. And when we think of the people that choose God first and how their problems do get resolved, just 2 weeks ago we were talking about the saint who had the severe case of diabetes, had 3 months left to live, and he just prayed that God come into his temple. And at the end, God said to him, where my light is, no darkness can dwell. And in the Bible, it says, if God is with me, who can be against me? And Arjuna, when he chooses Krishna, he knows that if he chooses God, victory is assured. So really, when we think of what to pray for, we should pray to be with God, because everything else will actually resolve itself. But we may not be there yet. We may not be there yet. We may want to be able to pray like that, like, Lord, help me be with you all the time, but that may not be the real prayer. Help me want to be with you all the time. St. Augustine, a great Christian theologian, said, Lord, help me to be good, but not yet. And so we may think, Lord, help me overcome my desires, but just let me fulfill a few more before you help me with that. And when we think about it, Divine Mother, it's like, why do we pray to Divine Mother? She knows everything. Why would we pray to her? Because she has to teach us how to pray at the level that makes sense to our heart, that's real for us. We don't want to pray a prayer, take me into the light now, Lord. It's like, no, I still have a lot of things to do. I don't want to go into the light now. So what is a prayer that makes sense to us, that's real for us, that we can really embrace as ours? So Divine Mother, through our life's experiences, helps us to understand what that is. It's just like a teacher with a student in mathematics. You have to sit down and teach them the principle of mathematics. And so slowly, over maybe a few years growing up, the children learn what are the principles of mathematics and how do I apply them to these problems that I need to solve. So, but in the meantime, the child is making mistakes. He doesn't quite understand. He gets some bad marks. He just doesn't want to work that hard. And so he rebels a bit. But that's sort of like Divine Mother for us. It's like she has to teach us the principles of life. That if what we really want is money, I just really want to have a lot of money. I want to have a lot of power. I want to have a lot of fame. And in order to get those things, I'm willing to be selfish and greedy and not care about other people. So Divine Mother shows us that, okay, let's do that. And what do we learn? We learn that we suffer. Or we learn that happiness, whatever upliftment of moment of joy or fleeting satisfaction we had, doesn't last. And then if we, next lifetime or a few lifetimes later, we say, no, this time I'm going to be giving. I'm going to be serviceful. I'm going to think of others before I think of myself. And suddenly that lifetime, it's like, I'm having a pretty good life. I'm having a contentment within that's lasting. It's not leaving just in a month or a day. And so slowly, slowly, cause and effect, the divine law, she's teaching us the principles of the divine law. And if we pray and then act just with self-interest, we see the fruits of those actions. And if we pray and try to tune ourselves to the divine lesson plan, because we know we come in with our own lesson plan, we have these chakras, we have this aura, it's a blueprint that we are born with, and it's a lesson plan custom made just for us. And Divine Mother says, here's the lesson plan, and if I force you to memorize the answers, it won't do you much good. If I just give you the answers, you won't really appreciate them. And so you yourself, you have to work it out. You have to go through the pains of learning and the pains of making mistakes in order to be in harmony with your own true nature. And so again and again, lifetime after lifetime, she sees our true potential, the masters see our true potential, but do we see our own true potential? So Yogananda ji, with his disciples, when you read Swami Kriyananda's book, The New Path, you see all these stories that Swami Kriyananda talks about being in Yogananda's ashram, and the way that Yogananda would teach the disciples, the monks. He was a monk. And Yogananda said one time when a monk was driving back from Arizona, he got really hungry and he stopped on a roadside hamburger stand and he ate 2 hamburgers. He was a vegetarian. He ate 2 hamburgers because he was so hungry. And when he got back to the ashram, Yogananda said, next time when you're that hungry, don't stop for hamburgers. And Bernard said, oh, you knew. And he said, I know everything about you. I know everything about my disciples. And then Swami Kriyananda was talking about some miracle that Yogananda ji had performed. And he talked about it to a skeptic who had come to Hollywood Church. And when Swami Kriyananda went back to the ashram, Yogananda said, why are you talking about miracles to people that don't believe, that are skeptics? And Swami said, how did you know? And Yogananda said, I know every thought you think. So this is a master who has infinite consciousness that has an awareness that we may not even be able to relate to or understand. But wherever our consciousness is right now, expanding it toward that infinite consciousness of the masters is the direction that we want to take. So right now, for us today, it may just be this person that bothers me every time I see them. Instead of starting an argument with them, or instead of judging them for this thing they said to me like 3 years ago, and I'm still judging them for that, instead of that, let me bless them when I see them. Let me be kind to them. Let me open my heart, even if not outwardly, but inwardly, to them, and send them love. And suddenly you feel like our consciousness has expanded. And that's a mini miracle for us. May not be a miracle for Yoganandaji, but it's a miracle for us. Suddenly my heart changed. And this is how Divine Mother teaches us, lesson after lesson. How can I expand my identity of self to include others, and then to include more others, and then to include all souls, that my awareness has grown into infinity, that I actually am having the experience that I am part of all that is. And so Divine Mother, through all of our lessons, also wants to make sure that we are using our own energy and our willpower to embrace our personal lesson plan. And if we're just ignoring it, yeah, I have this lesson plan, but I'm not dealing with it. I have this lesson, it's right in front of me, it's looming, but I don't want to deal with it. Then Divine Mother is just going to rub our nose in it again and again, this lifetime, another lifetime, until we engage and learn the lesson, the principle that we need to learn in order to expand our awareness. Because the purpose of life is to expand our awareness into infinite consciousness, to become like the masters. And Divine Mother is holding our hand, and more, like meditation, helping us commune with that expansive spirit, with the divine, as love, as infinite peace, as the vibration of Om. In meditation, we're expanding that awareness. In our seva, like, what can I give? Divine Mother, I offer myself to you. And is that a real prayer for me? Do I really offer myself to Divine Mother? Divine Mother, I want to offer myself to you. I want to serve you. Show me a way that I can serve. And then once we start serving at the ashram or anywhere in this world that needs your heart and needs your love, the more we give, the more we understand how much we are still holding back and how much there is still to give. And in that giving, we expand our identity, we expand our awareness, but in that giving, we find that joy and that lasting happiness that we have been looking for. Up till now, that happiness has been fleeting. But when our heart really is, Divine Mother, what more can I give you? Now I understand where my happiness comes from. Then that becomes the prayer. She has taught us how to pray. She doesn't need to know our prayers, but we need to learn from her how to pray. And so let's all introspect and see, what's the size of my prayer right now? And how can I expand that in my day-to-day? And then we act as instruments for that light. We live in that light. We ask to be channels of that light. And the more light we share, the more light that flows through us. Mother, awake me in thy light, hand in hand, dancing together in thy light. This is where my true joy will come from. And hopefully that's the prayer of each of us. God bless you.